Do you know which fight I'm talking about?
No.
I know.
Jake Paul, Joshua.
Oh, Jesus. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
Yes, you heard that right. That is real. Not an exhibition bout, professional bout. It will go on their record. What we know is it'll be 8 3-minute rounds, so they're going to have an 8-rounder, not a 10.
I'm going to say it for you. Okay?
Done. No,
if
please,
Jake Paul
no.
beats Anthony Joshua by a knockout, this is a million times better than what I always have thought was a very ill-conceived event with Tank Davis.
Dana White didn't hold back. He called Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua a terrible idea, yet even he admits the whole world would tune in. Meanwhile, as the news of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua spread, many people waited to hear what experienced promoters thought about the matchup. Frank Warren finally shared his view, offering a clear breakdown of why this fight is unusual but interesting. In his first comments, he focused on Jake Paul's background, the questions about his opponents, and how big a step this challenge truly is for him.
Well, my thoughts on it is that Jake Paul's had a lot of accusations over the years. For a guy who's had no amateur fights, what's he had, about 10 or 12 fights? I'm not sure what he's had. And, you know, you look at the opposition he's had and people saying, when's he going to fight somebody? He stepped up. He's stepping up to a two-time world champion, a genuine heavyweight, a proper heavyweight champion, and an active fighter. And this is a big moment for him. And you got to take your hat off to him for that. As regarding AJ, why I'm sure AJ's wants a fight back after that.
After pointing out the level that Jake Paul is stepping into, Warren moved toward how this matchup looks from Anthony Joshua's side. He explained why AJ might accept such a fight and what the business side could mean for both men. Transitioning into his next comments, Warren emphasized AJ's motivation, the financial draw, and why the public will pay close attention once this event moves forward.
Unbelievable loss he had against Daniel Dubois, which is quite an emphatic loss. He wants to come back, get himself, dip his toe in the water. He's going to get paid a lot of money for this. This fight's going to generate a lot of money because for me, it's a fighter. Jake Paul's going to be a massive underdog against a big favourite, a big odds-on favourite. Can he do it or not? This is a car crash. And people will watch it because that's what people do at car crashes. And that's what this is.
Furthermore, as more details about Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua emerged, analysts began sharing their honest reactions. Luke Thomas focused on the confirmed rules, the event setup, and how unusual it is to see these two in a professional bout. Before getting into his full breakdown, he explained the structure of the fight and why people should take the matchup seriously based on what has already been announced.
Yes, you heard that right. That is real. Not an exhibition bout, professional bout. It will go on their record. What we know is it'll be 8 3-minute rounds, so they're going to have an 8-rounder, not a 10, certainly not a 12. December 19th, as I mentioned, at the Casilla Center in Miami, Florida, and as one more time indicated, on Netflix. You'll recall the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis was supposed to happen on Friday. It got canceled long before that because of, presumed poor ticket sales or Gervonta's indiscretions with, the accusations around Gervonta Davis around potential domestic violence issues. Who knows? That may have been a pretext. I don't really know.
Luke then shifted toward why this matchup surprised him, highlighting how extreme the risk looks for both fighters. Transitioning into his next points, he described the health danger for Jake Paul, the pressure on Anthony Joshua, and the possible impact this fight could have on each man's career, depending on how the result plays out.
Point being is it got canceled, and now we have this. And I have to tell you, I cannot believe they're going through with this. It seems like suicide for one of them. Jake Paul risking genuine health, it seems, fighting a guy like Anthony Joshua, who I understand is coming off the loss to Dubois, which was really bad, but Dubois is very good, very heavy-handed. If he doesn't beat Jake Paul quickly, it feels like his stock would be completely diminished. In a similar sense,
moving from the risk factor, Luke then explored the long-term consequences this fight might create. He explained Joshua's confidence, possible plans, and why losing here could affect bigger opportunities. Transitioning into his final points, he stressed how unusual his matchup is and why both sides are gambling with their careers. His closing thoughts centered on the reality that this fight is officially happening despite all concerns.
If Jake Paul were to win, well, I mean, let's talk about this. So if Anthony smashes him very quickly, that's the end of Jake Paul, or at least it seems like a big part of the Jake Paul experiment goes. Right? That's one way that you get it. Or Jake Paul hangs on and does well, in which case it'd be huge vindication for him, but it would be a disaster for Anthony Joshua. I think Joshua took this because he feels like he's got a chance no matter what. He can win no matter what. There's reports that his fight with Fury will happen in 26. This would change that if he were to somehow lose or otherwise look badly, right? But they're going to go through with it. They're going to go through with it. They're actually going to do it. I cannot imagine that Jake would win this.
Meanwhile, as more reactions rolled in about Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, fans waited to hear from Dana White. He has never been the biggest fan of Jake Paul, and that showed again here. Even before his direct comments, it was clear he viewed the matchup as risky, unusual, and something he wouldn't normally support. Still, he acknowledged that the public would watch, adding another strong voice to the ongoing conversation.
Did I see the fight being worked on December 19th in Miami?
Yeah.
No.
Did you know which fight I'm talking about?
No.
I know.
Jake Paul, Joshua.
Oh, Jesus. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. Then I think everybody's going to get what they've finally been waiting for.
Adding on, as the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua news continued spreading, Dan Rafael offered one of the most detailed reactions. Before diving into his points, he focused on how this matchup compares to Jake Paul's previous plans and why it stands out. Moving into his first reaction, he explained why beating Joshua would dramatically change how people judge Jake's career and why this matchup carries more weight than any fight Jake has attempted before.
I'm going to say it for you. Okay?
Done. No,
If
please,
Jake
done.
Paul
No.
beats Anthony Joshua by a knockout, this is a million times better than what I always have thought was a very ill-conceived event with Tank Davis. So whatever you think about Jake and some of the types of fights that he has made, you got to give him credit for at least everybody has said for a long time now, fight a real fighter, fight a real boxer. Well, Anthony Joshua was absolutely a real boxer, a real fighter. You can't deny that. Like you said, two-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist. Now, he may not be at what he was when he was absolute peak.
Dan shifted toward Joshua's current condition and recent setbacks. He explained that even though Joshua isn't in his prime, he still has enough skill and power to compete with top heavyweights. Transitioning into the next part, Dan highlighted Joshua's injuries, long layoff, and the effects of his loss to Dubois, while still making it clear that AJ remains a dangerous opponent for anyone who steps in with him.
There's no doubt that Anthony Joshua was beyond his apex of his career.
Mm-hmm.
But even though he'll be coming off of about a 14-month layoff.
Yeah.
He's coming off having had surgery on his elbow. He's coming off of a very, very, very difficult, brutal, hard knockout loss in the Dubois fight. But all that said, I still think he's got enough to compete with any heavyweight in the world. For my perspective is, whatever you think about it, Jake Paul certainly has gotten better since he fought Tommy Fury. He's certainly gotten better over the last number of fights. Now, is he at an elite world-class level?
Dan continued, and he turned his attention to how matchmakers and experts in the sport view this matchup. He explained that these are people with deep experience in building fighters and understanding risk. Leading into the final part, he shared their reactions to Jake taking this fight and why many of them believe the danger level is extremely high, adding even more weight to the decision behind this matchup.
Probably not yet. He may never get to that level, but so you got to give him props. He's taken on a guy that I spend part of my morning talking to different boxing matchmakers, people I've known for decades in this business, who have vast experience of building fighters and moving fighters and developing them, and they know a lot better than you or me what they're looking at. And to a person, they were like, they don't understand why Jake took this fight, because they think it's, one person used the word of decapitation.
In addition, Ariel Helwani gave one of the most detailed responses to the Jake Paul vs. Anthony Joshua fight announcement. Before breaking down the reaction online, he highlighted how unusual it is for Joshua to return in a matchup like this. His comments focused on how quickly public opinion shifted and how some fans immediately questioned the matchup. This set the tone for Ariel to compare Joshua's current choices with the type of fights he took earlier in his career.
Still one of the biggest stars in the UK, and now he is coming back to fight Jake Paul, of all people. Who would have thought not that long ago Anthony's critical of Tyson Fury fighting Francis Ngannou. Now 2 of his last 3 fights will be against Francis and Jake Paul, of all people. This is a massive leap from the fights of yesteryear where he was fighting the likes of Usyk and Dubois and being in the Tyson Fury mix. Now, a lot of people have said, well, if he doesn't knock him out the way in which he knocked out Francis Ngannou, he's a sham, this is a sham, this is all rigged. A lot of people said if Jake wins, this is a sham, this is rigged. A lot of people said if he goes the distance with Jake, this is a sham, this is all rigged. Some people are saying even before it was finalized, Gareth on our show, although he folded quite quickly when he was face-to-face with Eddie at the open workouts. I saw that on IFL TV, I do believe, saying that his legacy is already in question as a result of taking this fight.
Ariel shifted toward how some media members handled the announcement. He pointed out how certain critics changed their tone when speaking directly to AJ's team. This created a smooth transition into a broader discussion about narratives, expectations, and how fans often judge a fight before it even happens. It also framed why some people believe AJ's legacy is being questioned unfairly.
Now, I'm surprised that people like Gareth say this. Look, this may not be your cup of tea. You can say, I want to see Anthony Joshua fight other heavyweights. I want to see him fight the likes of, Joseph Parker. I want to see him fight Marvin Bakoli. I want to see him fight Caballel. I want to see him fight Zhilei Zhang. I want to see him fight Hrgovic. I want to see him fight Tyson Fury, Dubois again, and the list goes on and on. The heavyweight division hasn't been this interesting in quite some time. Surely there's someone for him to fight. You can say that, and I would say, I get it. I get it. But to suggest that his legacy is being ruined by just taking this fight is absolute nonsense. Lest we forget, in 1976, the heavyweight champion of the world and the most famous boxer on the planet was a man named Muhammad Ali.
Ariel then moved from listing potential matchups to focusing on Anthony Joshua's career and how this fight fits into it. To support his point, he referenced past examples involving boxing's biggest legends. This showed that unusual matchups have always existed and never erased a champion's accomplishments. It reinforced his argument that the criticism of Joshua for taking this fight is exaggerated and unfair.
He went to Japan to fight in a mixed rules bout against a pro wrestling legend named Antonio Inoki. We're not going to get into the whole history of the bout, but did that ruin his legacy? Did anyone hold that against him? Has anyone thought lesser of him because of that? In 1975, a year prior, a man by the name of George Foreman, coming off the loss to Muhammad Ali. We have the poster somewhere. Where is it? Right over there. George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, 15-round fight. The Rumble in the Jungle in Africa. I realize that I'm pointing at something that you cannot see, but trust me, that fight happened in 1975. He lost that fight. He was devastated. His next appearance in a ring was at Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, where he fought 5 jobbers on the same night. Not at the same time, but on the same night, he fought 5 different people. And you could go on and on with the likes of Jack Johnson, even going back to that.
Meanwhile, Wade Blemons shared a detailed announcement about Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. Before diving into the specifics, he explained how the fight became official and how Jake confirmed it on social media. This set the stage for fans to understand the magnitude of the matchup. His opening commentary focused on the fighter contrast, the location, and the significance of this professional heavyweight bout.
Folks, like I said, Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, it's official. Jake posting this on Twitter this morning. Yes, it's real. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua will go head-to-head in a pro heavyweight fight, live only on Netflix, Friday, December 19th. They got the hashtag ready. Here's the poster, and even in the poster, you can see this is a David and Goliath story here. I mean, there's times where I thought Jake is a cruiserweight. There's times where I thought even he could be a light heavyweight. And now he's stepping in with one of the most chiseled, bona fide heavyweights in the world right now in Anthony Joshua. And while you may think this matchup is a monstrosity, I think the real monstrosity is the fact that they spelled judgment wrong.
Wade moved into details about the event setup and rules. He highlighted how this fight differs from Jake's previous exhibition against Tank Davis. The focus was on the location, data, and structure of the fight, as well as why this matchup is more serious. This transition helped viewers understand the professional stakes and why both fighters need to take it seriously.
This was the location for Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis. They're going to keep everything the same. They're going to keep the date the same. Time, Netflix. They're changing out the opponent, and obviously they're changing out the rules. First, Jake, Tank Davis, exhibition. No siree. You're not seeing that this time around, and this is why I think Jake has gigantic balls, because the rule set is as follows. Jake Paul is actually fighting former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua in 10-ounce gloves in a professional bout, 8 rounds, 3-minute rounds each, and there is a weight limit. And that's only for Anthony Joshua, but there is a weight limit. And there's a quote here from Anthony Joshua: "I'm about to break the internet over Jake Paul's face." I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but it sounds demented.
With the rules and setup explained, Wade points out the intensity and danger this matchup brings. He referenced AJ's mindset and his approach to the fight, showing that Joshua is prepared to take this seriously. This set up the final part, which focuses on how the fight will affect their professional records, the level of competition, and why the public should expect a legitimate high-stakes bout.
Terrifying, and just in the same tone I would want AJ to take this fight. Being there, playing no games, wanting to knock Jake Spark out, El Sparko, cold, because that is what makes Jake Paul or any other fights interesting. A level of danger that we believe, a level of competition that we want to see. And the details, like I said, fire me up. It's a professional bout. This is going on people's records. AJ got to take him serious, because this isn't some exhibition where we're running out some judges to act like there's a decision and someone won. No, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose here. It's 8 rounds, 3-minute rounds. Again, heavyweight pro bout, 10-ounce gloves. AJ talking about breaking internets over faces. I think he meant to say breaking his face on the internet.
This fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is shaping up to be one of the most talked about events in recent boxing history. Both fighters are taking big risks, Jake Paul stepping up against a former world champion, and Anthony Joshua putting his legacy on the line against a fast-rising star. With 8 professional rounds, real gloves, and serious stakes, this isn't just hype, it's a genuine test for both athletes. Fans will finally see if Jake Paul can truly compete at the top level, and whether Anthony Joshua can maintain his heavyweight credibility. So who do you think will come out on top in this epic clash? Jake Paul's rise or Anthony Joshua's experience? Comment below with your predictions.